In this video, we're going to look at the sheet metal tools on Fusion 360. We're going to look at sheet metal tools, how we can use a tool called Flange, which is here, and we're going to use the flat pattern tool here. So this is the focus. So this is going to be a very basic, simple shape, but using those tools. So to start with, you need to create a solid object. I'm going to use the create sketch on the base profile here. I'm going to draw a simple rectangle. As we know, I like to use the center rectangle tool just to keep everything centralized. I'm going to draw it out. I'm going to have it 50 high and 20 wide. A reminder to switch between these measurements, press the tab tool and then press enter once you're happy with your dimensions. If you don't dimension them properly, you can always click on the sketch dimension tool here and manually dimension the sizes. So I'm going to finish my sketch and I'm going to extrude this shape 3mm. Because we're doing this for acrylic. The aim of this is to create a shape with folded acrylic edges, and this is going to help us plan it out and design it for laser cutting. So I've got that middle part here, and we need to know where we're going to start with. If we're going to start with a base piece or something else, you draw that out first. I would like to go over and use my flange tool, but I can select that and I can't select anything to create a flange with, because first off, we need to make this a sheet metal part. So I can go over to create, I can go to convert to sheet metal. I can select the body, and I've already got this set up here as acrylic. You can have different rules for this. So I can press OK. It automatically detects the thickness. It doesn't matter what the material is for this scenario, only that we have our thickness as 3mm. This will keep everything we make coming off of this at that same thickness. Now, I'm going to go to my flange tool and I'm going to click on an edge. Not a end surface, but an edge itself. And it gives me the direction it's going to go up. So I'm going to take it up here and I can pick my dimensions. I can also pick my angle. So right now it's at 90 degrees, which is the default. I might want this at slightly less, so I might take this down to 80 degrees. Or I can have it coming in tighter. What this will do is adjust it for us so we can choose. So if you know you want a certain angle like that, you can put it on there. So I'm going to have mine 80 degrees. And I'm going to have it coming out 35mm. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I don't like to have my design symmetrical where possible, so I have it coming up 35. I'm going to bring it out to 85 degrees. I can then do another flange. I'm going to do it on this edge this time. I'm going to bring it out this way. Now it's coming out by default at 90 degrees. I want to take it back to 80 degrees. Oh yeah, I've got two different dimensions on that, so we'll go and have a look at how to change that. So how far out do I want it? Well, I want it coming out maybe about 30mm, and press OK. Now I've got 80 degrees in this one, 85 on this one. I can go back to my second flange here, right click, edit the flange, and just change that angle. And that's a really handy way of going back and adjusting things. So now I'm going to do the other flange on here, on this edge, bring it out 30mm, and adjust the angle up to 80. Again, I can check the front, make sure it's all nice and square, it looks good. Happy days. I'm now going to carry on this process. I want to go down, so I'm going to press on this angle here. I want to come down. I want to come down further than this part here, because I don't want this to be the base. I want to have a separate base coming off. And again, I'm going to take this out at a slight angle, 80 degrees again, and press OK, and do the same on this side. So 45 and 80. I'm just going to check that looks good. Yep, nice and accurate. Happy. And then maybe I want a small little bit coming out the sides. So 15mm. Again, bring it down to 80 degrees. And same on this side. 15mm. Bring it down to 80 degrees. And there we go. I've got that little shape there. It's a little basic stand. And I can do quite a few things with this. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to have a cut through this central bit here. So I can now just right click on that surface, I can create a sketch, and I can draw a rectangle shape. I'll do my center rectangle because I know I've started in the center anyway. And height I'm going to do at 18 millimeters. The width isn't overly important as long as it's wider than this section here. So I can see that it is. I'm happy with that. I'll finish that sketch and I'm going to press the extrude tool and I'm going to select that profile and I'm going to cut through. Not all the way, just enough to go quite low. And then press OK. I'm going to do it again on this one here. I'm going to create a sketch and I'm going to draw I might do this as a circle in the center. I'm going to come out probably 12 millimeters. And then I'm going to finish my sketch, extrude that. Now I may need to go in two different directions for this and you'll see why. If I just cut down here, you'll see that I don't cut away the stuff that's on top. Now I could have done this from the bottom. I press OK, you can see that I've got the overlaps on the top there and I don't get the full circle. If I edit that circle, I can have two directions or symmetric. If I go for two directions, I can select the second direction manually and press OK, and that's cut through my full circle. That's enough to get a charging cable through and for my phone to sit in this crease here. Now, this is really good. It's a nice visual representation of what I want to achieve with my product. But the reason I'm doing this is so that I can take it into a 2D program and I can see the bends and I can laser cut it out in one piece. Right now, that can't be done, but we need to create what's called a flat pattern. So the flat pattern tool is here, or create flat pattern. And what this does is it takes our object, we give it a stationary side, so a part that stays fixed, we're going to use this bit here, and then it unfolds all of our flanges. If I press create flat pattern, it asks me to select my stationary side. I'll select this is my stationary side, press OK, and it calculates all of my folds. So we can see here that I've got my fold lines here, and these represent the extents of the fold. So if I bend it here, this will all form part of the curve. And I've got each of my folds marked. And this is ready to be laser cut. And it actually translates some of these shapes into what they would become. So it's more of an oval shape. Now when we laser cut this, we'll have to choose, do we have the inner or the outer? If we go for the outer, then all of it will be that shape. And when we laser cut it, it will be slightly distorted on one side, but not the other. If we choose the inner shape, it will be slightly distorted on the opposite side. So we have to be careful which one we choose. You can see on these ones here, there's actually a chamfered edge to get the final result that they want. What you can do on here is edit this. So if I was to create a sketch on this surface here, and I use my rectangle tool to draw out the full extent of that shape, and then extrude that through, cut through. So it just removes any of the material that would have caused those chamfers on the edges. If I finish my flat pattern and I unfold it, you might see a slight difference between my left hand side and the angles on the right hand side. And it is hard to see. I can go to my utilities and my section analysis tool. Flip that around. And if we look at it, we might see some slight angle differences there. It's very, very subtle, but there are some slight sizing and angle differences. So that's what we need to look at. That is the aim. I'm going to hide my section analysis tool here, which the analysis is on the left here. So I've got my flat pattern. That's done. I can go into my flat pattern, I can activate it here, and it gives me the opportunity to export it as a DXF file, which is the file type we need. So I can press export, units in millimeters, and it asks what do we want. So do we want the center lines? Yes, we want the center lines. Do we want the extent lines? We don't need the extent lines. The center lines tell us where our folds are going to be. The extent lines just tell us the extent of the curve. We don't need that for what we're doing. I can press OK, and it asks me where I want to export it to. I'm going to put it in my downloads folder. I'm going to call it flat pattern. I'm going to call it flat pattern. And then I'm going to press save. Oh, it didn't like doing that. So this is an error we might sometimes encounter where for some reason it doesn't like part of the flat pattern. It could be some of the geometry. So if I try and edit this now, and I'll do the same thing with the circle and with this rectangle that I've done before. So I'll draw my rectangle to the full extent. And then I want to copy this shape here. In order to do that, I'm going to press the letter P, and it projects the shape that I can see here. And that's the bit I'm going to cut out. So I'm going to press OK. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish my sketch. I'm going to extrude those parts. So that oval shape there and this bit here. Cut them through. And now I've got that. If I have a quick look at what this looks like in reality, it still looks exactly how I want it. I'm happy with that. I'll go back into my flat pattern. And I'm going to try and export it again. So we'll call it flat pattern. Ooh, I've pressed caps lock somewhere. And press save. And this time it's worked. So the reason for that is before, where there was two different sizes between the top and the bottom, it didn't know which one to select. So now that I've removed that difference, it's got the same size top and bottom, it knows which ones to select. That's now been selected. If we now go over to 2D design, and in here I can go through and I can import a file. I'll go to import file, I'll navigate to my downloads and press open, and then it asks me, do I want it in inches or millimeters? We want it in millimeters, and press OK. And there we have it. Now, with 2D design, it doesn't always work perfectly, and it's got everything we want on it apart from the edges of these curves here. Now, we could just continue this round to make a circle, or we could draw a 3-point arc in here. I'm going to go with drawing the 3-point arc. So if I press the arcs tool here, this is the arc through 3 points. I'm going to use my attach tool, so I can attach from the first one to the second one. I'm going to come off of my attach tool. Oh, this is not the 3-point tool I want. Use 3-point arc tool. So I'm going to draw an arc through 2 points and locate the center. That's where we're going to go. We'll try that again. First one, second one. Come off of my attach tool, and I'm going to want it around about that sort of shape because it was slightly deformed. It wasn't a perfect circle. We could just do a perfect circle and see how it comes out. I'm going to bring it out like that just in case. Now I want the exact same on the other side. The best way to do that is to have a mirror line. So if I just take a line, draw it down there, it's almost center, but I know it's not perfectly center. I'm actually going to move it away from the center. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that, use the space tool, center it vertically on that one there. So it's definitely in center now. I'm going to select that. I'm going to use the mirror tool, and I'm going to repeat it. It wants me to locate one point on the axis of reflection. You see up in the top left hand corner, gives me my directions. Well, I'm going to use my attach tool again so I can get perfectly on this line. Right click to finish. I'm going to get rid of that. Voila. Now, it did give me not the full line here, and when I click on this, it's all one item. I can ungroup this so it's no longer one item, they're all individual parts. I can extend that down. I'm going to extend it past it. I've still got my attach tool on, hence the annoying dinging sound. I'm going to delete the extent of that, and now I'm going to select these. I'm going to right click to add them to my selection. It's a really handy feature on 2D design. You can just add or remove from your selection by right clicking. I'm going to change those line types to dash lines, something like that. And this just means that we don't cut, doesn't do a solid line, it gives us a dash. You could make these even finer. It's up to you how you want them. Everything else though needs to be red, because that's what we're going to use for our laser cutting colour. So the laser cutter uses red for cuts in our scenario, and then you can click and drag with right click as well, and that will also have the same effect. My outside is one solid object, which is handy, and there we go. Our black lines will engrave where we want to have our folds. Our red parts will cut out, and this is ready for laser cutting. You could make some changes here, decorative or constructive. So you could choose now to start curving the corners. You could do that back in Fusion here. You could curve the corners manually here, and that would automatically transfer them onto the here. It's up to you how you go about doing it. But this is how you go from using using Fusion 360 with the flange tool and the flat pattern tool into 2D design or any other 2D program for laser cutting. Okay. Good luck.